Live on a Monday edition of Cleveland Browns Daily. I am merely Bo. He is the great Z. Gibbe is there. This is the first time since when? Full band? I don't think you're on.
Since Luca's been born.
It, but I'm pretty sure.
Since Luca's been born.
The golf outing?
You're right. It was the golf outing. I think you're exactly right. I think it was the golf outing was the last one.
Because then you were off?
That was
for the
golf
memorial.
outing was on a Monday, right?
Monday the 2nd.
Monday, June 2nd.
Yeah.
And then I think you were off. I think you were off Tuesday, Wednesday, and then I was Memorial Thursday, Friday.
Wonder what I was off Tuesday, Wednesday for. Sounds great. Oh, I went down
I think you had. Yeah, you had.
Did
yeah.
I go down to Double
that was
Eagle?
The week before. That was the week before. He was down in Columbus Wednesday. You were down Thursday and Friday. I was in Italy. I came back that Monday. We had the golf outing. Zagura needed time to prepare for the birthday.
Only on
child.
Friday. I just took Friday off.
No, but
week.
I thought you did.
There was
No, it was
something
just
else
Friday.
in the middle.
It was just that Friday.
Yeah,
So maybe it was that week. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
somewhere in
I
there.
feel like it was not.
I thought it was the
week.
golf outing. I could be wrong.
No.
Yeah.
Golf outing was the first time we were together for a long time because he had been gone.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So it felt like a big day.
Yeah. Well, we're all here.
We're all here.
How's it going?
3 weeks, dude. 3 weeks old today.
Is he walking?
Is he walking? No, he is not. He is eating like a champion.
Good.
As they say, it takes a village. I mean, between me and Miss Kay and the great Nana. Nana's, I said, we're going to build a statue in her honor at the end of this.
She
is
I saw
tremendous.
that operation firsthand, what she's capable of and willing and capable of.
She's amazing.
Yeah.
The great Nana. Yeah, you're one of the few who have been in the come to the abode. You've met young Luca. Had a great hangout. Yeah, it was great.
Ready to go.
To see you right before your trip.
El Boods and Artie Buckets were legendary. They were both great.
Oh,
Artie was locked in.
So into it. Both of them.
Yeah.
So into it.
Yeah.
It's great.
Awesome.
Yeah, so it's been wild. I mean, like, I think that what I've noticed is being 15 years removed from the last time I had a newborn, you block a lot of this stuff out because
yeah, you do.
Otherwise, you're like, well, I'm not. There's no way. I think it's part of like human nature. You lock it out. Like a lot of women say they go through childbirth and they like block out what that experience was like because that might make them, hesitant to do it again per se.
Yeah.
But he's been as good as can be. That's what's so funny. Like I think I would give him an A++. It's still just hard. It's just the reality of the situation. But he's been awesome. And last night, a great night. Nana, as I said, has been incredibly helpful. She's helping. She's up anyway. I mean, she wakes up at 4 a.m. every day, that's just her like.
How
rhythm.
did I not know this until now? Like that's her normal body is to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
What's she doing that early? When'd she go to bed?
Like 8.
Oh, so that's her. Didn't she do that?
She did graveyard shift for a long time, but she's up early. Her natural rhythm. I mean, by the time most people are like dusting the cobwebs off, I think she's meditated, she's swam, and she's gone to church. God and maybe run an errand, and you're like, yeah, but it's only 9 o'clock. What do you mean?
It's getting a lot in.
So she has the last few days, and this is the greatest offer ever. That's why they say it takes a village. But she is. So he's kind of on like a. It depends. Some nights, 2 nights ago, not good. 2 of the last 3 nights have been really good. 2 nights ago, not good. But she'll come over at like 5:15 and do that like 5:30, 6 a.m. feeding, which is amazing.
Oh my God, that's gold.
Yeah, because I was doing kind of like the 8, 11, Kayla would do the 2, and then I'd hit the 5 again, and that's tough. Because like it's not like you sleep through.
No,
everything.
because
Although
you hear everything else.
I've gotten pretty good at it.
Yeah,
She'll be like, he's crying. I'm like, oh yeah,
it's all right. He's fine. He'll be all right.
He'll be fine. Yeah, the snoo's gonna rock him. And now we're letting the snoo do its thing. It's pretty wild. It's wild to watch it happen, but it works. It works.
Yeah.
So it goes like, it like rocks them like if this was the baby in there, the snoo they get like clipped in, and the snoo baseline just kind of goes like this.
Yeah.
Back and forth. But then when they start fussing a little bit, it like somehow it knows. Like this thing's like the smart. I don't even know.
Yeah.
Then it'll go like a little faster, and then it goes like on 2. It's like, and they play all this like ambient noise or whatever, and like it kind of startles them, and
they chill out.
Sure enough, it puts them back to bed.
That's awesome.
But then there's like level 3 and 4, which we cap it. We're like, we
can't get there yet.
Yeah, I don't understand how anybody gets there.
Bounce out.
Dude, like throw them out. It's going to take off from the ground like a helicopter.
I remember thinking, and you now this is all coming back to you, but I remember thinking like I probably didn't sleep well for 6 years because we had the boys every 2 years.
Yeah.
So like it really was from the time that NBC was born until Bootsy was probably about 18. I mean, they sleep through the night by 6 months or whatever. So
Yeah.
at that point it's okay. But I was pretty much tired. Amy and I were pretty much tired for like 6.5 years. Pretty much always pretty tired is kind of the way that it worked out. And then so you'll have that, but he'll be getting through the night, and then you'll be tired, but not like this. Like this is a different level.
Well, Nana doing this, Nana being the hero that she is.
That helps.
Yeah, and like she loves it. It's a joy for her too. We've been sending around all these great. She's like so thankful that she gets to do this, and we're like, we're thankful.
It's a win-win.
Everybody's winning.
And it's perfect for her too. Because
Where's the G-man? Please, too much
easy,
winning.
too much.
Too much winning.
But it's perfect for her too because if that works with her clock, then she's
loving
pop right
it.
in there, and it's good. That's nice. It's
And
very
like right now, like the best thing they do right now is like, Luca when he looks at you,
good. Yeah.
you're like, all right.
It's a lot of work and sleeplessness for very little reward.
Yeah, the
'Cause
reward.
they're coming. It's coming.
It's coming.
But you're not getting a hug back. You're not getting a giggle yet. You're not getting.
No.
You're getting that'll come. The giggles. come
Sometimes
pretty
he
quick.
coos a little. He's like,
Yeah.
ah.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh yay! Like that's the biggest. Yeah.
Yeah.
He doesn't even know. I mean, I know he knows who we are, but
Yeah.
like sometimes when he looks at you. So I've had him watching. We watch when I do like the morning feedings with him. We've been watching Gummy Bears,
Yep.
which I loved that show. And then right now we're almost done with A New Hope, Star Wars.
Oh, there you go.
His first Star Wars movie.
Got to admit, when's the last time you saw it?
All the way through, like
Yeah.
A New Hope, probably a few years.
It takes a long time to get moving. We're in that desert a long time.
It does, but like, yes, like his
We
and
are in a
Uncle
long-
Owen and
It's
all
a
them.
lot. Like it
Yeah.
comes out swinging.
but it comes out hot.
It's
right.
hot, and then it settles down for probably 35 minutes, and then it's back again as soon as Solo gets. As soon as
Once
we
you
meet
get to
Solo.
the-
So we get to the bar and we meet
Mos
Solo.
Eisley Cantina.
Then we're
Then we're rolling again.
Yeah.
What I don't like is the version that's on Disney Plus is the one where they like added it, like they added in that Jabba scene outside the
Yes.
Millennium Falcon where he's like clearly like a computer slug. He's not even that big.
No, I don't know why they
And
needed
they
to
added
do
those,
that.
and they added when they're looking for the pod with the droids, they added those like weird creatures that a couple of stormtroopers are riding on.
I don't know why they needed to add the Jabba scene. Like in watching Jedi, it's not like I needed the point of reference of seeing Jabba.
You knew it from Grodu or whatever.
Yeah.
It was like
It's fine.
Jabba. You knew who he owed
Yeah.
Jabba the money.
Yeah, you knew who he was. I didn't need to see him.
Well, and Jabba was there, and he had Boba Fett was there. Were like 8 different bounty hunters there.
Yeah.
and they're gonna let him walk. He's like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Solo.
I don't know, but it's that part of it has been very fun.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, that's all of that stuff will be all of that. He's a beautiful boy and very, very exciting.
It's been fun. Well, now you got him. Now he's fitted up. Look at this from Uncle Bo.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I mean,
Well, I thought,
oh baby,
there you go.
oh baby.
He's ready. He's got his flight
in the
suit.
camera like a professional. Look, I look good.
Almost good. My wife actually saw it in the bookstore in Annapolis at the Naval Academy.
man.
And she just held it up and she goes for Luke and I go, yes.
Yes.
We're getting
Thank you.
that. Absolutely. So
Oh, man.
I hope we timed it'd be a perfect Halloween.
It would be
First Halloween costume. It's also a nice little sleeper, but it
just
would be a lovely Halloween.
phenomenal.
I think
9 to 12. I
9
mean,
to
he
12.
could be.
So
I
it
don't know
could
if
be
It'll be club. Whatever. We'll
be
put him
right
in.
around there. Right
we'll
around
put him
there.
in.
Could be good. So yeah, we did. I did. I think I don't imagine anyone else on the planet has ever attempted what we did.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear about all your travails. It's all seemed pretty great, by the way.
A lot of it was not
wait.
really nothing. There was the
You leave
closest-
Coeur d'Alene and
I know. I got a text last night.
insanity happens.
Threes texted me. He goes, "Are you still in Idaho?" And I go, "No. Why?" And he sent me the
Yeah.
screen. If you didn't, just to know what we're talking about. So yesterday, the West. The preamble to this is the West is constantly in threat of fire because it is so dry and because it's so beautiful, but it's a tinderbox, quite literally. And so if these forest fires start up, they are damn near impossible to stop. So you saw this.
Look what happens
Pacific.
in Canada every year now.
Yeah, and those are obviously just north of where we were. But I mean, it's just. My brother said this like 10 years ago. He said Montana's going to get to the point where there is fall, winter, spring, and fire season. Like that's kind of where you're at. And so some just worst human ever, just the most heinous thing, started a forest fire in Coeur d'Alene, which is where we were last week until Wednesday. Started a forest fire in Coeur d'Alene, and then which is this gorgeous little lake town. It is just stunning. And started a fire, and then all firefighters are the bravest, best of us, right? First responders, all of that. And they charged in to put out the fire, and he opened fire. He was a sniper, and he killed 2 firemen and injured a bunch more.
Have they got him yet?
I think they did, right? Is that right, Gibbe?
I believe it was a self-inflicted
situation.
Yeah,
because they said they found a man down with a rifle or something.
Correct. Yeah,
like
late yesterday they lifted the shelter in place, and
yeah, I mean it is the most. I would say like, well, you live Chagrin Falls, so Coeur d'Alene is like Chagrin Falls if it were in the middle of the Rocky Mountains and had a massive, gorgeous freshwater lake. Just massive.
Have you been like to Traverse?
I've not.
In my mind, I wonder if it's like that. Like that's Traverse City is kind of like the but
it's just perfect. It's kind of everything you'd want. I mean, just stunning.
And you parred the famous hole.
Yeah.
No big deal.
Yeah, we did. So anyway, that happened yesterday, and then so anyway, but this all starts back on Friday. A week ago Friday, we drove to Annapolis.
Yeah, 5+ in the car.
5+ in the car. So we drove to Annapolis, played lacrosse, did the Naval Academy. The great former undersecretary, Mr. Bodley, had arranged for a tour. So we did a tour.
What did you guys get to do there?
Had a lovely midshipman who gave us a tour. Sam, he's great from Shaker. He gave us a tour. It was really, really cool. We did have a near catastrophe right away, though, because my wife went to go. Like, because it's like TSA, if you've not been, if you go on something like that, you have to have identification. So my wife handed her the license, and the woman who was the main guard there said, "Where's your real ID?" And my wife said, "Real ID? This is my real ID." And they're like, no, you need the real ID to get on the Naval Academy. And we did, and I didn't know that.
To get on the Naval Academy?
Yeah.
How did she fly?
Well, we have passports.
Passports.
Yeah, so we took passports.
Yeah, but you had driven there.
I'd driven there, and we did not have our passports.
Yeah.
Because why would I need a passport? I had no clue that it was like that. And the last time I was on the Naval Academy, now they don't let you park on Academy. You have to park in Annapolis and then walk in. The last time I was there was in 2012, and we could park on campus. Like we drove through a security check, and then we parked on campus. That was in 2012, and so that I didn't foresee any of this, but luckily, Sam, being a midshipman, he was able to walk us in under his. So it was fine. We ended up doing it, but it was kind of
Gotcha.
like, oh wow, that's an attention getter. Like that would sure suck if we couldn't have been able to do that, but we did. So that was great. Annapolis is just spectacular.
Cool city.
It's kind of everything you'd ever want it to be. Played lacrosse. We had. It was 98 degrees and humidity, and we played from 8 o'clock in the morning. Bootsy and Beamsy started at 8 a.m. NBC's last game was at 6:30, so I was outside all day, 9 games. And then we played games early Sunday morning and then drove home, and then we flew to Spokane, Washington Monday. So like 4:30 a.m. we flew to Spokane, Washington, rented a car, drove to Coeur d'Alene, which is 40 minutes. So we were
And you were able to get from here to Spokane?
Here through Minneapolis.
Minneapolis, okay.
Yeah. So it was 2.5, easy flight. Go to Coeur d'Alene. I was in Coeur d'Alene when I was a kid, but I didn't remember it well, but it's quite honestly perfect. Kind of everything you'd ever want, like a mountain town. And it's the home of the Floating Green, is at the Coeur d'Alene Resort, which is where we stayed. And so we were there by 1 o'clock, blown away by how great it was. Rented a pontoon boat.
Perfect in the summer. Just perfect.
It's perfect. It's 76, no humidity, all sun, no clouds. Rented a pontoon boat, buzzed around. The lake's huge.
Any
all the way
tubing?
around. No, we didn't have time because remember we were double booked. We were supposed to be there on Saturday, and then the lacrosse thing got switched, and so now all of a sudden we lost 2 days of the trip.
I got it.
So we were only able to be there 2 nights. We just took the pontoon out. There was nobody on the lake. We were on there by 8:20 in the morning Tuesday. Took the pontoon out. Boys jumped in the water, kind of cruised around. There's an incredible club. So their course is there, and there's another one called Gaza Ranch, which is baller, crazy, across the lake. That was nuts. So we did that, and then me and the 2 oldest played the course.
Yeah, where was Bootsy?
So he didn't have the stomach for it.
Really?
He just didn't know if he wanted to play 18. So you couldn't play 9. He's 9, so it's on the edge.
So it was a Bootsy self-removal.
Yeah, he didn't want to do it. I was more than willing. I mean, I had to
For
pay.
sure.
I had to pay for the foursome anyway, so it didn't matter.
Yeah.
Whether he played or not. But they wouldn't let you play 9. You either had to play 18 or that was it. So him and my wife bought a cabana thing, and they hung at the pool and jumped in the lake and had snacks. So it was a win. So the course is incredible. It's probably the best resort. Look at that guy.
Oh my
God. He would thrive there. That guy would thrive there, right there.
Jeez
Probably the
Louise.
best resort course I've played.
Really?
Truly. Yeah, it was better than Royal Blue in the Bahamas, better than Wailea and Maui. I mean, just nothing, not a speck out of place. No bunker rakes anywhere. Like almost like private, really elite private club is what it played like.
Yeah.
And so we played it, all these cool mountain holes and all this stuff, and me and the boys played it. And so you get to the Island Green, which is kind of the focal point of the whole thing. And it's
How far was it playing?
for us. Well, we played second to the front tips
'Kay.
to keep it moving. So I think we were like 114.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, but even like the member and then the tips, I think the member was 128, and
Okay.
the tips were maybe 138, 140.
Okay, so it's not right.
No, it's not
It's
like
a- it's
200
wedge.
or anything
Yeah,
like
he's got
that. No,
wedge,
it's just
Johnny.
a wedge. That's it. But it's pretty remarkable. So the driving range, you hit into the lake on the driving range. That's how you do that. So you just hit into the lake.
That's so
On
cool.
the driving range.
Are
which
there
is
like
awesome.
floating greens out there, or is it just kind of like
No, they have floating flags.
flags?
So you try to hit to the flags, and then you have a net under it to catch them. But obviously, some just get into the lake, and then you see like the pools, how the current takes. So you just see like pools of like tens of thousands of balls, like in these giant pools underneath the lake, which was cool. So you get to the floating green, and it's just an ingenious. This Hagedon guy who built it was so genius to take something like that sets it apart, and he fought for it like crazy, and it's a true floating green. You have to take a boat over.
You boat out.
You
right?
boat over. It's a beautiful little wooden boat that you all get in and you go over, and then you play your shots. And so what the way that it usually happens to kind of keep pace of play is the group ahead of you hits on, as they're boating over, you hit on. So you have like a couple minute window to hit on. Now we had to rent clubs. We had to buy balls because we didn't pack any of that stuff.
Yeah.
So I was worried. I'm like, God, are all of these going to look? Are they in the same spot we are, where they bought all their balls? Like, who are you making sure you're hitting the right ones? But all 3 of us got it on our first shot. And I ended up making par, and so they give me a certificate for making par.
They can like move it too, right? Can't they like
They can
actually
take it,
like take it
They
out?
can take it way out.
Yeah.
They can take it in. Yeah, they can move it.
Yeah.
They definitely can. It's all hooked up. They actually brought it in. The guy, my caddy, was saying a couple of years ago, they brought it like all the way in, and they had to like resod it because of so much sand from the traps had landed on the green.
Oh, wow.
That they had to clean all of that out and kind of restart it. But it's a brilliant piece of marketing. It's a really cool hole.
And you got a certificate.
I did, yeah, when I suck, but I did. And I tell you though, like, my caddy said this. He said, a lot of people, especially because everybody goes there wants to play, and a lot of them are really bad. Like I'm bad, but there's people who are terrible.
Yeah.
And he's like, most people just stop at 14. Like they just call it a day. At that point, they don't play the last few holes because all they want to do is play 14 and then be done.
That's the Island Green. It's 14.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and then Amy and Bootsy got to come out on the boat, take pictures and all of that. So it was really cool. And I highly recommend that area.
Yeah.
And then we drove over to Montana from there. I don't know if it's just, I'm just not used to it, but like when you are driving over Lookout Pass and you're crossing into Montana from Idaho and you're literally driving over the Rocky Mountains and you see a speed sign for speed saying 80 miles an hour, and you realize what that means is that Montanans are going 89.
Oh, yeah, at least.
It is minimum 89.
Yeah, that's it, probably.
It is a borderline insane choice. I mean, it just is. Like, people are just, they should not be. It's an interstate. It's 4 lanes, right? But it's still
It's like the Autobahn.
It is. And it is, to go that fast is like the standard is craziness. Like, the whole time I'm thinking about, like, so you drive like 77 by Brecksville and Broadview Heights and it's 55 or whatever it is. And I'm driving over the Rockies and it's 80. How do these two things equate? And there's a ton of traffic.
Yeah.
It's not like it's like there's no traffic. It's summer.
Yeah.
The roads are packed. I mean, it's full traffic situation. If there's an accident, it's got to be backed up forever. How the heck do you even get emergency crews up to these places on the sides of mountains? It's nuts. So that was crazy. Then we went to my dad's after that, and we did a couple of nights there, saw family, which was cool. This was this closest I've ever been to death in my life, though, happened at my dad's place. So he's getting a little older, and he's got 3 really great horses that the boys ride that don't buck, don't spook, don't do anything. And he had me on a different one. So Payton, despite only riding like once a year, he rides his own horse. Parker rides his own horse. And then Bootsy rides a horse, but I trail him. So I have him on a halter.
Okay.
And I get on this horse I've never been on before, and I can tell right away she's not up for it.
Wasn't steady.
No, and I've ridden a lot, so I know when things are not going. I'm like, and I got on her, and she was kind of bouncy a little bit, and then as I sat down and started to walk, she started to buck, like legitimate, like rodeo buck. Okay, so she jumped twice, and I held on, and then she kind of settled, but then she panicked, and she started backing up, and she backed up. I'll pull it up. She backed up, right. I took a picture of it because it was just so insane. So she backed up right up into that.
Into that fence?
Into that fence with that tractor.
Wasn't that tractor right there?
So she backed up into it and hit it. And when she backed up into it and hit it, and I'm still riding at this point, she backed up into it and hit it and started to fall back. Now, if she falls all the way back, I'm dead because it's a tractor, it's me, and a horse. And I don't win there.
Yeah.
That's it. Game, set, match. And so she kind of gathers herself and just kind of falls on her side against the tractor and the gate. Now,
where's your leg?
Because I have ridden a lot, I was quick enough to get my leg out. So I got my leg out, and I was able to like get my leg out of the stirrup.
And you hopped off.
And hopped off. As she was falling, I was able to get it all out, and I just got away at that point. She really struggled to get back up. Inevitably, she was fine. She got back to her feet, and she was fine, but you just kind of have to let him do it at that point. But it was like that from game, set, match. Like, and so now...
Was your dad there?
He was, but he was saddling another horse. He was getting his horse going on the other side. Beamsy witnessed it firsthand, and he was, shook, really shook. He's like, I'm done. Like,
get me off this horse.
Get me off this thing now.
Yeah.
Bootsy didn't see all of it. NBC saw a little of it, not all of it, though. But my wife saw all of it. And I'm thinking, don't you forget, still a cowboy. Still got it. Still got it.
The athleticism is still there, honey.
Still got it.
All good.
It was so close. Yeah, it was terrifying. And then we went and rode after that. Went and put that horse away. I put the saddle that was on that one on another one, and then we all went and we rode after. It was crazy. In retrospect, crazy. But no, it was great. My dad bought a buggy for some reason, like a carriage. Like if you were to take like
from
Mrs. Lincoln to the Ford Theater carriage.
Yeah,
like
why?
He bought one. I don't know. Something to do. He's like, hey, you want to see this? I'm like, you want to see something? Okay. So we go down. He's, hey, what are we going to do with this? Oh, we're going to go for a ride. All right. So he goes through the hassle of putting all the things.
That's like what they would go into town in
Bonanza.
What's the show
They're
we just
riding the two
1923
behind?
Yeah, like that, or like 1883, like a true wooden carriage buggy.
You're in it.
And he's taking us around. Yeah. He's like, oh yeah, I got a one horse open sleigh too. Okay. God bless you. My thinking is he's almost 77. I think he's hedging for when he can't ride so that he can still do these things. That's my guess is how it's working.
That'll be great though, him getting buggied around everywhere.
It's a scene. We all did it. It was a scene to say the least. So No, it was a great trip. All the flights were incredible, and we did it all in 7 days. So it was nuts. Lots going on.
Awesome. Did the kids have a good time with everything? Did they have
Yeah.
what was like their favorite?
Well, so oldest was the golf. Peyton's big into golf, right? NBC's big into golf right now, and so
Yeah,
like
golf's great.
He's like, I want to play more and more. Can we go back to Coeur d'Alene? I want to play, and that course is fun. It's really
It looks
fun.
gorgeous.
It's stunning, and it's not just that hole. Like the whole thing's like through the mountains, big carries. It's just cool. It's just a really, really cool course.
Yeah.
So he loved that. Beamsy loved the pontoons. Then Bootsy loved the riding. So we did a little bit of everything. Went back to the main Ponderosa and showed him all of that, and yeah, so it was good. This was supposed to be a slow day in the National Football League.
Not. Yeah, I don't remember anything like this at all.
No. About middle of the morning, the Pittsburgh Steelers, speaking of, they kind of chose violence. Like they went as all in as can be. So Minka Fitzpatrick goes to Miami. Jalen Ramsey comes back. And then they acquired Jonnu Smith as well for a pick swap of a late pick going forward. Whatever you think of the risk of all of this, they're better than they were a year ago, and they won 10 games.
They're definitely better. But it's interesting. You look at, so they've added Ramsey. They've added Jonnu Smith. They've lost Minka. They've lost Pickens. They've added Metcalf. They've added Aaron Rodgers.
Yep.
They've had Darius Slay, right?
They did. Yep.
So they're old.
They are older. Yep.
Which is interesting. It feels like
what's the difference between Micah and Ramsey age-wise? It can't be much. Minka and Ramsey? A year or two?
Let's see. I think it's wild that
Ramsey's 30.
I think it's wild that
Do you think they're going to have him play safety?
They said slot corner, outside corner, and some safety.
Yeah.
Minka's 28.
Yeah, he's
so it's just 2 years. Yeah. And then our guy Thornhill's over there.
Thornhill's over there.
And then they'll have Slay and Joey Porter Jr. as the outside corners.
So Ramsey was picked in the 16 draft. Minka was picked in the 18 draft.
Yeah.
He'll turn 31 in October. Let's see when Minka turns 29. Minka turns 29 in November. So yeah, he's basically 2 years over. 2 years and a month. It's just interesting. It kind of feels to me, and I said this in that group chat we were on, but it feels to me kind of like what the Eagles did that year, where they put together that dream team, and that obviously
when
did
Vince
not
Young
necessarily
said that with Michael Vick and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, who knows if it'll work. A lot of it will be contingent on Rodgers. I do think with the Jonnu Smith trade, though, I can very clearly see what they're going to be offensively, which is also all the more weird that Rodgers wasn't there for more of minicamp or more of the offseason, because they're clearly going to run a lot of too tight.
Yeah,
and
him and Freiermuth. They're going to have a back, and they're going to have Metcalf and whoever else.
Yeah.
Emerges
Robert Woods or whoever on the outside, or whoever it could be.
What about the kid they drafted out of Michigan?
Out there.
Yeah, Roman Wilson.
Yeah. So maybe that's it. They're going to run the two backs with Warren, and they're going to run Caleb Johnson, who's a stud. I think he's going to be really good for them.
Yep.
And they're going to run play action off of that and wide zone, and that's the plan. And then defensively, that's a group. It's a good looking group.
It's old, but yes,
it is.
Good.
But they're like
Slay, Ramsey, and Joey Porter Jr. is pretty good cornerback trio.
That's pretty good right there. Yeah, and they still have Patrick Queen, and they
still have
T.J.
Watt
and
Highsmith and Cam Hayward.
Yeah, no, it's
Keanu Benton.
On paper, do you have them where in the AFC North on paper?
Still probably third.
See, I think they're better than Cincinnati on paper.
Maybe they are, but Joe Burrow's Joe Burrow.
He is, and they're going to have to outscore.
Yeah.
But I think their roster.
To me, though, they're clearly not.
They're not as dangerous as Cincinnati.
They're still not first.
No, but if they got closer,
they're either or this is going to be a complete disaster.
It could be a complete disaster.
Yeah.
But even the one thing about there's no precedent for complete disaster for them.
No, which is why this would be.
They've never done it.
But they've also never done this.
No, Brooke Pryor's talked about that. I saw it on her Twitter. She was like, this is a very un-Steelers offseason for sure.
Yeah. So this is, to me, is like, it almost feels like this is a last hurrah. You only have Rodgers for 1 year. Like, people in Pittsburgh are already tired of Tomlin, which is nuts. The guy's never had a losing season.
Yeah.
But they have not won a playoff game since we looked it up, like
16, I think. Yeah.
I think it's going to blow up, and I think they're resetting after this season.
Either way, they probably are. Win or lose. Whether they
For sure.
That's
it's just,
like what would be defining success for them at this point with all in. Like you have to win a playoff game minimum. They're not a Super Bowl team, I don't think, unless it all went aces. So
they have to think they're a Super Bowl team.
I'm sure they think that. We did that thing, a couple of years ago. We said you walk into every facility in the division, and everybody thinks they're a Super Bowl team. I mean, we acquired Deshaun and Pittsburgh at that point. Like everyone would have said, "Hey, yeah, we feel like we're a Super Bowl team," and that's probably their thought. Is if you walk into the building, you can say, "Hey, we got Rodgers, we added Ramsey, we got Metcalf." It's a one shot at it, and everybody over there has been complaining about Tomlin and being in the middle, by their definition, the middle, for so long. Now, if this doesn't work, or even if it does, you can pivot to a reset pretty easily.
Problem is, if it has to go, if when you're pivoting to a total reset, you need to kind of crash spectacularly. I don't think they're going to do that
spectacularly. No.
Unless it just becomes a complete.
But it could be a multi-year rebuild at that point.
Yeah,
where it takes a couple of years to get kind of back organized.
Yeah.
But either way, our division, which was already brutal, got tougher. Like there's more talent in the division now than there was yesterday.
No doubt.
So that's the that would be your big news of the day. And those are your hot topics of the day, presented by University Hospitals, official healthcare partner of your Cleveland Browns. Our big position reviews continue. We'll break down our quarterback room. Just a light little topic for us as we return from some time away. So we'll get into that coming up next. We're off and running. Cleveland Browns Daily is presented by Bally Bet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Back for Season 2, Junior Browns Backers presented by University Hospitals, Rainbows, Babies, and Children in association with Cardinal Credit Union. The Cleveland Browns official kid club is gearing up for another season of fun for ages 4 to 12. Give your kid a season full of Browns memories with exclusive gear, experiences, events, plenty of surprises all season long. Visit juniorbrownsbackers.com to join today. Time for our position reviews. They continue as we break down our quarterback room. Oh, baby. We're diving right back in, brother.
Diving right back in. My goodness.
I mean, this is it.
My goodness gracious.
All right, we've seen.
We don't got Billy Musgrave on the at the podium.
Mr. Musgrave did not address the media.
Well, he talked to us once.
He was the only position coach.
I was gonna say normally it's position reviews. It's nice you have a little
bit of a
Little
Yeah,
tape.
normally there's a little thing. There's
Little
not.
tape.
A
Well,
little
we're
thing
back.
here.
We got to work. You got to earn the. all
Well,
this.
we've got those for later in the week when
Smart.
we're just kind of like, let's get through the last 2 days.
Smart. Good job out of you, Gibby. What do you think the plan will be when we get into this thing, my friend?
That's my good pen.
There, you can use that one.
That's your pen. Oh, it's right behind. It's right behind yours. How about it? Well,
There you go.
I was over there. I had to keep your keep the seat warm when I was in your
safe.
I don't know. I really think it's going to be fascinating. I think that you need to decide, okay, who do you think are realistic starters for week 1? And I think it's kind of okay. If one of the rookies is just that good, it is okay. But I think it's also okay to go into it with the mindset, at least initially, that you're not putting a rookie into that murderer's row.
No, I mean we've talked about that throughout this
Unless they
offseason.
force themselves into that position.
Yeah, like Russ Wilson with Seattle, and you're just better than everybody else. But based on what we saw in minicamp, it would take a lot to get there, and I just don't know how they're going to get enough opportunity to prove that with splitting the reps up.
So I think that what we're not privy to that they might be privy to is we've had so much debate. Do you keep 4 quarterbacks or is it just 3? I've said all along I think it's going to be 3. So I think you have – I'm going to say it from my perspective.
Okay.
Because I don't know. I think that right now you're getting Kenny Pickett ready to start week 1, and you should give him the reps that indicate that early on. If he falls flat on his face, you can press the eject button, and then you put Flacco right into that role. Mm-hmm. But I think to me, that's where it is. And then, you have Gabriel and Sanders having kind of their own competition to see who will be the backup going into the season. Because I think you're keeping one of Pickett and Flacco, and my guess is it would be Pickett just because you got to look at the big picture here. You said, and I look, could the Browns go win the Super Bowl this year? Absolutely. Is it likely? From Vegas standpoint, not.
Yeah.
Least likely in our division.
That's right.
And that's just kind of where we are. So let's look at the outcomes. So Kenny Pickett starts for you, and Kenny Pickett is really good. Good enough that you would consider him your starter going into the next season, or that another franchise in the National Football League would consider him their starter going in the next season. Mm-hmm. So that's outcome 1 with Kenny Pickett. That means that either A, maybe you have your quarterback.
Yeah.
Now the question is, can you afford him? Or B, that he goes somewhere and signs, we'll call it $25, $30 million a year deal.
The Darnold deal.
Something like that. Or even, what did Daniel Jones end up signing for?
I don't remember that one. I don't remember what Jones ended up signing for. I know Darnold was 3 for 100 or thereabout.
Yeah, so or even say 20 a year, like Justin Fields.
Yeah, okay. 2 for 40, yeah.
In that range.
Jones 1 year, $14 million.
Okay, so not Jones. So Fields, low end, Darnold,
Yep.
high end. That gets you, unless you go out and sign a $20 million or $30 million a year free agent, which not likely.
Those don't hit the market, no.
That means Kenny Pickett is worth a third-round pick to your organization because he would be a compensatory third pick leaving. Joe Flacco. Now, he doesn't play well. You're going to see Gabriel and Sanders at some point, and then that goes into, with Gabriel and Sanders, can you be the guy so that we do not have to use one or both of our first-round picks next year on a quarterback. Bo.
Do you think they view, because the way you set that up is you kind of set it up as if Pickett and Flacco were the same in terms of like their standing?
I don't think they are.
Okay, but is it possible that they view Pickett as similarly as the two rookies?
Possible. That's possible.
So in that scenario, you could start Flacco to start the year. Like obviously you want you're exactly right. Obviously the intent would be Kenny given the first opportunity to go win the job, be the starter, compensatory pick, or potential here.
If Kenny Pickett's not starting week 1, I think he's out of the picture.
Yeah.
I think those are his only outcomes. He's either starting week 1 or he's not for us.
Yeah, because at that point, you'd rather have the young kids give it a shot. Yeah.
My point was just that if he's good, that's what you get. If he's not good, he's gone. And you have Gabriel and Sanders, and they get the next shots. If Kenny Pickett, let's say, falls on his face and Flacco starts week 1, if Flacco's really good, again, the likelihood that we get into the playoffs, I think it's a very tough road, as we've outlined, but that would be wonderful. But from 26 and beyond, does nothing for you. Joe Flacco's in his 40s.
No,
he has not been a consistent winning starting quarterback since the year 2017, with the lone exception of the season with us.
Right.
So that does nothing for you. Nobody's going to pay him big bucks. You're not getting a there's just no. That's why I think Joe Flacco, if you're looking at the big picture, is the kind of break glass in case of emergency. Now, if the quarterback room had been what they thought it was going to be when they signed him, which was Pickett, Flacco, and Dylan Gabriel, that's your 3 quarterbacks. Flacco's the mentor. He plays when he needs to play, and he's in there. Not that he's in there to mentor, but he is somebody that is a great – just watch him. Osmosis Jones. Watch him and learn from what you've got going on there. Now that you've got Pickett, Flacco, Gabriel, and Sanders, again, I think you challenge Shedeur. I think that nobody would disagree with the statement that Shedeur Sanders is regarded as the more talented of the 2 rookie quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Nobody. Dylan Gabriel, impressive. I know Coach loves him. I know the Browns love him. I know that he is almost kind of a veteran. I still look at him and say a great outcome for him is being Colt McCoy, Case Keenum, playing the league for a decade, being a backup, starting when you need to, probably having a couple seasons where you are a starter and do well. All of that. Now, maybe he's better than that. Maybe
he's Russ Wilson.
Maybe he is. And in that case, boom, he could be your answer. And then Shedeur. I think that Flacco, you don't need to give a lot of reps to, and I think we kind of saw that in minicamp and the OTAs, until you need to. Unless you say, Kenny Pickett's not the guy, we're not starting these rookies, Joe Flacco, you're the starter, then you get him all the reps he needs, and I think he'll be ready to roll. Guy came off his couch and went 4-1.
Yes.
So he doesn't need a long ramp.
No.
So I think you're going to prepare.
He looked great in minicamp with next to no work. he just get up and throw the ball.
6'6", and he throws a beautiful ball.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be Pickett being groomed to be the starter. I think Gabriel is going to get a lot of work, and I'd like to see Shedeur's work go up in high-leverage situations and see if he can handle it because of how talented the guy is.
I asked Coach, he was right at the end of minicamp. He came on when you were with little Luca, and I asked him like,
live.
do you have – I wasn't expecting him to give me the answer, but – in your head, when do you know when this needs to start to be pared down? And they do have an answer for that. But the reality is that they do have to, they have predisposed notions, and they've had a lot of time with these rookies. They've had a lot of time with Kenny Pickett. They know who Joe Flacco is.
Yep.
So you cannot get all of these guys reps. Not the important reps.
No.
There's no way. And you have 2 joint practices to work through. The ones with Carolina and the ones with Philly. Those reps are the money reps. Now, one thing that's going to be really cool for Browns fans is these preseason games are going to be huge.
Yep.
These reps from these quarterbacks, the 2 rookies, are going to be huge.
Yep.
One thing that we saw in the lead up and all the way through mandatory minicamp is that what Dylan was being asked to do was different than what Shedeur is being asked to do because of background, because of the way that Dylan has had to learn all of these offenses, has played so much football, whereas Shedeur, it's been a little bit different in terms of the way that their quarterback gestation period has gone.
Yep.
But every rep is so critical, and we saw that at rookie minicamp. We saw it at minicamp, just the way that they're flying these guys through because they have to.
Yep.
They have to figure out what they have in the 3 young quarterbacks, and that's Pickett, Gabriel, Sanders. So I do think that part's going to be fascinating, how quickly they pare that down.
Yeah, and how things evolve and change. That's what I'm talking about. That's the change. That is what changes that's going to give you the clues. But I think if
really
you're taking
Pickett,
it from an organizational standpoint and thinking through all the possible outcomes, it makes all the sense in the world to give Kenny Pickett that first shot. And if he doesn't, then you want to hope, hey, maybe Gabriel or Sanders is ready. And then if nobody is, then you give it to Joe Flacco, who's absolutely ready and a great guy and a great leader, all of those things. But because the fact that there is no other than being, and this is a big payoff, don't get me wrong, and hopefully it would be the case. It just has not, his year with us has been an anomaly in his recent past, but there's no long-term payoff from Joe Flacco being successful. There's short-term of us being competitive this year.
Yeah.
I think people need to ask themselves, okay, do we believe we can win a Super Bowl, or do we believe we can win a division?
It's also, I think, at the other part of it, in regard to the two, if it go to me, I think the first 2 weeks are most critical for Kenny Pickett, as you just laid that out.
Yeah, if Kenny Pickett is
if
makes
he
all the
plays
sense
well,
in the world to be the guy
fine.
first.
But if it doesn't go well and it's not clicking, then you pivot to Flacco, because you could absolutely derail the career of a rookie.
Yes.
By putting them in those first 6 games unless they are completely ready.
Totally ready. Yep.
That is a brutal stretch
Yes.
to open the season.
Yep.
So to me, what I'll be watching the first 2 weeks of training camp is Kenny Pickett.
Yep.
And how does he look going about his business? I know what Flacco's going to look like. I know it.
Same.
We know it. So if Pickett's not elevating to that point and really shining and very clearly the best, not between him and Flacco, between him and the 2 young kids,
Yes, exactly.
Far and away,
Yes.
if that's not happening, if the gap between him and the 2 young kids isn't big, then at that point you pivot to Flacco and you go with
And
the
then
2
get
kids
the
as the
kids
backups.
and get them.
And then they all the reps.
They're going to play. And then they're going to play this year.
Yeah. So I think that's, as we sit here on the last day of June, that's probably kind of the way that they're going to approach it. Folks, I would look at it as you have 3 swings at a
That's right.
future quarterback.
Yep.
You get 3 swings at it. And this is when you consider, kind of where we are at the quarterback decision because of the Watson trade and all of that, you got 3 swings at it. And my hunch is what this organization will do in the coming years is keep swinging until you got one.
Yes.
That's what you got to do. You're going to draft until you have one. You draft one every year.
Part of this season, to me, is finding out, first, can Kenny Pickett be that guy? Second, can Dylan Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders be that guy? But I think you need answers to both of these questions. I mean, I could envision a season, depending on how things go, where, best case scenario, obviously you Pickett rolls, and then, like I said, he's either worth a 3rd-round pick to you, or you're saying that we're going to figure this out. He's going to.
Can we?
I think we'd have to find a way.
But if he has a Darnold year, like Darnold,
you could say to him,
last
look,
year,
you could sign a big extension where the initial cap hits are not great, and make it work. But he's still young. He's still in his rookie contract. He's a 1st-round pick.
26, yeah.
15-10 as a starter. I could see a scenario this year where you get 5+ games from Pickett, Gabriel, and Sanders. Ultimately, when it all shakes out.
Let's say we're playing Madden. That's probably what I would do.
Yeah, for sure.
I would split the season. I'd split the 17 games 3 ways and see which one I played. If humans weren't involved in emotions and physicality and all of that, and if guys weren't hurt, and you could just say, that would be the way. That's your litmus test. Fully healthy, these 3 tranches, how do these guys perform? Because really,
and the goal is if you go first, make it so that they don't.
Sure.
You can't go to the next tranche. And if you go second, make sure that they can't go to the 3rd guy.
Yeah.
And then that helps you get an answer. But to me, that's what it is. And then from the preseason standpoint, I definitely don't need to see all 4 of them. I don't need to see Joe Flacco in the preseason.
I don't need to see Joe Flacco do anything.
No. If he's going to go, he's going to go. And he's going to be ready. And I have full confidence in him. I want to see some Pickett, and then I want to see a lot of Gabriel and Shedeur.
Agreed, and that's why, I think it's important for each one of those guys to start a preseason game.
Start, yes. I was to say both have to start.
Not third quarter, fourth quarter.
Only.
No, start a game.
Yeah.
Go through the process of what it's like to be the guy. I'd love to see both of those guys start one of those games.
Yep.
And if you get the answer quicker, positively or negatively on Pickett, then that allows for that to be an easier play. For example, if Kenny, if it doesn't go well for him right away, and because you've had all these months, there's all the tape, like you got a pretty good idea what he is, what he's not. If it doesn't go well and they love him, Kevin loves him. But if it doesn't go well, then those joint practices, you can go Flacco in the joint practices to be ready for the first 6 games, and the preseason games can be all the rookies.
Yep.
And you can sprinkle them in the joint practices. But that to me is what this is about.
100%. 100%. Can you find a solution to the biggest problem that's faced this organization and plagued this organization since really the days of Bernie?
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, it's been a long look for one, and so that you're going to get 3 more at bats at it this year. So,
and you have the 2 picks next year. But like the ideal situation would be able to turn those into Caleb Downs and a left tackle, a wide receiver and Caleb Downs, a wide receiver and a tackle, an edge rusher to go opposite. Just to get 2 studs would be great.
Yeah, if one of these guys can be, Russell Wilson is probably the best example recently. So I just keep coming back to it. Of a guy who was drafted where he was drafted and then turned into something. And it's what that allowed for is it allowed the Seattle Seahawks to win a Super Bowl and be Super Bowl contenders because they stumbled into a quarterback.
Yes.
It's the same thing the 49ers did with Purdy. They stumbled into a quarterback, and it allowed for them to make a run at a Super Bowl. So that's what you hope you did here. You have 3 chances to be able to do it.
Yep.
So, all right, Gibbe. What are your thoughts as I look at the clock?
We can do an around the league if you want to squeeze it in. If we can move it to 2:00, that's fine.
Around the sports world, around the league.
Yeah.
All right, let's do that at 2.
Yeah.
All right, we'll do that at 2. Second hour, Cleveland Browns Daily, presented by Ballybet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Your Phantom with the Ballybet Sportsbook app. Download today. Get 50 back in bonus bets. You place that first wager of 10 or more. Ballybet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Big news of the day in the NFL, if you're just joining us, the Pittsburgh Steelers with a couple of moves. Minkah Fitzpatrick goes to Miami in exchange for Jalen Ramsey, and then they acquire Jonas Smith in exchange for a late-round pick swap. I have to assume these things were all tied together. It just had to be two separate transactions, but it kind of feels like just one.
What's wild to me about the Jonnu Smith piece of it is why this all came to be. Because, and just to give you a little background. So, Jonnu Smith, let's get a little John. Yep, there he is. Jonnu Smith's been in the league for a long time, since 2017. Mm-hmm. He was with Arthur Smith in Tennessee and had 41 catches for 448 yards. Then was with, and the year before that, 35 for 439. Then he was a big free agent signing by New England. Nothing really happened there. Then he reunites with Arthur Smith in Atlanta, has 50 for 582. Last year in Miami, career high 88 catches, 884 yards, 8 touchdowns. I'm surprised Miami didn't want him. And coming off his first Pro Bowl season, 29 years old. He's going to turn 30 shortly. Again, another older guy added to that team. He's never had monster numbers with Arthur Smith, and you're going to have him and Freiermuth out there. It's just it's strange, and now it's like the Dolphins want a tight end. Mm-hmm. Now they're trying to trade for a tight end. Well, you had a tight end.
Right, yeah.
Who did pretty well in your offense. It would seem, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but it certainly would seem like he did pretty well in that offense. So it's just a very strange. I find it to be a very strange addition. People, I think, expecting him to go. I'm talking from a fantasy standpoint, and go and keep doing what he's not going to do that in Pittsburgh.
No, because it'll be a complete job share. They're
yes.
And they still have Washington too, don't they? The big town.
They have the big, yeah,
out of Georgia, who's just a massive human. So I think that's probably. From their perspective, I now understand the thinking of what they're trying to be offensively, and they're going to be what Arthur Smith wants to be, and it's going to be too tight. And Rodgers going to have to pick that up pretty quickly. I'm sure they'll take a lot of the stuff that he ran in Green Bay and kind of work that stuff in. But it's going to be a new offense from ones he's run.
Yep.
Now, there's some of the principles probably that are in LaFleur's offense that are also in Arthur Smith's. There's probably a little bit of familiarity there. But yeah, this was a wild, Monday going into the holiday week.
A dead point of the NFL season. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very dead point of the NFL season.
Yeah. And obviously a division was already very, very difficult, got tougher. The Pittsburgh Steelers are more talented, older, but more talented now than they were a year ago.
Yeah.
I try to, anytime I'm on vacation, I really try to unplug. Is the TJ Watt thing still hanging out there?
Still
Did they
hanging.
Get a deal done? They have
Nope.
not yet. Okay.
Still hanging.
So that one's still out there because I thought I saw something yesterday that they did get the deal done, but it's hard to tell anymore what's real and what's
So
not.
this from Schefter within the past 10 minutes.
All right.
From sources, multiple sources. In recent weeks, multiple teams have been discussing whether they can trade for Steelers standout TJ Watt, who skipped the team's most recent minicamp. Pittsburgh has not shown any willingness to deal Watt so far, but he's unhappy with his contractual situation, and sources believe outside team interest is likely to increase given today's trade.
I just see no scenario why you would trade him after doing all this.
I agree.
It just doesn't.
We'll see you in a couple weeks.
I just don't buy that.
This is Schefter on McAfee. Everybody has just assumed that TJ Watt and the Steelers are going to figure things out. I don't think they're very close to a deal right now.
Here's the thing, though, too.
I heard,
Goose.
That there is a belief very close there that he is going to be traded.
Brooke Pryor, 1 minute ago. 6 months ago, I'd say there was no way TJ Watt wouldn't be a Steeler for the 2025 season. I still think it's incredibly unlikely he goes anywhere, but this regime right now is a real wild card.
So that's being said for a reason. Because this wasn't about this wasn't about TJ Watt.
No, it really wasn't.
So, like, for people all of a sudden to be commenting on TJ Watt specifically makes me think that.
Two things to remember in all of this stuff. Reporters leak things, owners leak things.
Yep.
Management leaks things. So if things are being said, they're being said for a reason. The other thing to remember, and this is just, it's June 30th, man. You're going into the holiday week.
Yeah.
Like, there's not a whole lot going on. If you're in the content business at the worldwide leader, this is it's a nice day. I mean, we're in the content business. This is
You're
nice.
one day closer to just focusing on hot dog eating.
You got hot dogs coming up at the end of the week.
That's it.
Yeah. So we do thing or not a thing. I don't think it's a thing yet. And I don't even know what the compensation would be for TJ Watt if they did try. I don't even know what's the jumping off point for that? Is it multiple ones? It's got to be is it a player? Like, and then whoever would trade for him would then have to give him the extension and make him the highest paid defensive end in football. Whatever deal he does is going to usurp Miles's. So
to me, that feels like Detroit wanting to pair him with Hutchinson and go all in if they can. Washington has been, remember when they were trying to get, or there
can
was
they
a lot
do
of
extensions for him? Those two operations?
extensions. You can always, if you sign a new deal, you can. This year can be basically nothing, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Let's see.
I don't know. I can't imagine him not being a squealer when this all gets going.
I'm with you.
I think they got to go, okay, this is what we're doing. We're running it. Z, I think you said it perfectly earlier in the show. Like, this seems like a make or break. If this falls flat on its face, I think the coach is gone finally.
Yeah.
This whole thing gets blown up. And no holds bar, anybody's up for on the trade block.
I think
a lot of people in Pittsburgh, a lot of Steelers fans probably would say, like, if this doesn't work, then let's blow it up.
Yep.
Because here's the other thing. They don't know what it's like to be at the bottom.
Nope.
And try to dig out of it. It's hard.
So.
It's really difficult.
Lions and Niners have tons of room. Packers have plenty of room. Eagles have plenty of room. Vikings, Commanders.
How could the Eagles have plenty of room with that roster?
Because that's what they do with their, because they're smart with how they use their money.
Jeez. Just seems like the most talented overall roster in the NFL, and they have a ton of room.
They're very good with those extensions.
God,
but those teams, Commanders have 20 plus. I mean, those teams could get it done. But I mean, you're talking Cowboys have a lot. Lions and Niners have a lot.
Yeah.
That would be interesting to me. And then going forward into 26, the Commanders have a ton of room.
Yeah. Yeah. So then what's the get back? And to me, it just wouldn't make sense. As all in as they're in to not have him, I would assume that he would be a part of it.
Well,
so
and it's to me, it's like if they are 1 foot in or 1.5 feet in, 1 foot out, TJ Watt probably allows them to get a first-round pick that would give them 2 in next year's draft to go get the quarterback of their future. And by the way, it would be correct to assume that being able to go after a quarterback is more valuable than having TJ Watt. It just is.
It is.
Guys never won a playoff game, if I'm not wrong.
The one thing on that, though, like, and I've said it in regard to us too, like, if there is a Trevor Lawrence viewed athlete at the top of this draft, 2 first-round picks aren't going to get it done. Unless you get a Bears situation where they just drafted him.
Right.
That's it. So the only team that could happen is the Titans.
Yeah.
If the Titans get a good season out of Cam Ward, and yet they're still bad, that's the one spot where if they pick one, your 2 ones would get it done.
For sure.
But there's nowhere else where.
It's not saying it's not guaranteeing you like your choice of all of them, but with 2 ones you're going to get, and this people think right now, again, we have no idea what it's going to look like next April, but right now people think there are like 4 or 5 really good quarterback candidates in this draft.
Who?
The kid, Klubnik.
He's decent at Clemson. He had 1 great game against Texas. Really.
Aller.
That's what flipped him.
Nussmeier.
Great Northeast Ohio kid.
Nussmeier. Is that right? Is that one of the...
Yep. Nussmeier's at LSU.
And then now you have all these people talking about Carson Beck again.
We just did that.
I know, but now they're saying that this move,
arm surgery.
This move for him is going to be like he's going to be like Joe Burrow. He was
Stop
at
it.
Georgia.
Stop it. No one's saying that.
He was at Georgia. I legit read that. Doesn't mean they're right.
You can't read everything. You can't believe everything you read.
I don't believe
college football. Z. He's a little bit like the character in Draft Day. Teammates can't stand him.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of that with Beck. No, I mean, nobody that you just listed. Would you say, even though I wouldn't view any of the people you just listed the way that we viewed Carson Beck last year, coming out of Georgia?
And nobody thought of Cam Ward at this time. That's what I'm saying. You don't have
you
any
don't know.
idea. Nobody has any idea.
No.
But you're positioning yourself to, I don't know.
Yeah, it's just the idea that if there is somebody great, you're going to be able to, with 2 ones, is going to get it done. It's not. It's not. If someone's great, there is no scenario that the Bengals would have traded out of Burrow at 1. None.
Oh, then there's the other guy that I keep
Give me the school.
Sellers.
Oh, jeez. The kid at South Carolina?
Mm.
He's pretty raw.
Yes, but
boy.
seems pretty talented.
Yeah.
But yeah, again. Yeah, because Arch is not till 27.
He could be next year, but he's not going to be. He's going to play 2 years at Texas.
Yeah.
That's always been the plan. So he'll play 2 years at Texas. By the way, he's making $6-7 million at Texas. Why would he not?
To go to college.
Yeah.
So
It's also wild to me that, and this is not trying to be skeptical, it's just weird to me that he didn't beat out Ewers.
yeah, a lot of somebody just wrote. Oh, Spurrier talked about that last week. I did see that. He said, well, why didn't he beat out Ewers? Yeah, I think it makes a little more sense when you think about what Ewers was and what his arm talent was.
Sure.
And I mean, they were in the playoff. They lost to Washington Ewers' sophomore year late in the game that would have had him playing for a national title. So, and he was a 5-star, quote, perfect prospect coming out of high school.
Yep.
And then this year, they went all the way to the national semifinal with Ewers. Like,
Yeah.
he's a really, I don't know.
I think if you're like,
Yeah. I also think there were some arrangements. The other thing that people don't realize about college football is you have boosters who have compensated people to do certain tasks.
sure.
Right? So that's in play too there. And Quinn is an NFL quarterback. He was drafted much later than anybody thought.
Yep.
But I think that there was probably a little bit of an arrangement on that side of things. So, but no, there's no guarantee that Arch is going to be that guy. There's going to be his 2 uncles.
Yep.
Bruce Feldman, by the way, who we've had on, wrote a great piece about Arch's upbringing. Everybody assumes that like Peyton and Eli were all over it. No, they were in their careers, raising their own families.
Totally.
Neither one of them lived in New Orleans. This was Cooper and his wife, Peyton and Eli's older brother, and then obviously his grandparents are around because they live in New Orleans too. But like, it's not like he was being raised by Peyton Manning.
Correct.
Right.
It's Uncle Peyton.
Yeah.
I got to see him on holidays.
Yeah, he said
and
he saw
I
him
watched him on Sundays.
5 or 6 times a year. Like,
Yeah.
Exactly.
Manning Passing Academy stuff, and that was about it. And Cooper in that piece said he doesn't think that Eli ever saw him play, ever saw Arch play in high school.
That's
like
wild.
in person.
Yeah.
Because he was in the NFL.
Yeah.
He couldn't.
Yeah.
Just not the way it works. A couple other things around the sports world. The WNBA announced today that it will be expanding to Cleveland, Detroit, and Philly. The Cleveland team will begin playing in 2028. So that's very cool. That's another cool thing for downtown. And that league is, I will give them a lot of credit. They're being very smart with the pace of their expansion. So these 3 teams will get them to 18 teams by 2028. And I do think that the talent level will be good enough by that point to be able to support that. Because you don't want to overexpand when you don't have the talent. So they can do that. EA Sports announcing today they're bringing back the NCAA college basketball game. Did you have it?
I did.
I did too.
Of course.
It was great.
It was awesome. Fun.
I think the best part of this game will be when you can have like throwback teams, if they can do that. Like college basketball now, and I know it's even in football, it's part of it, the portal and everybody moving around every year and all of that, but and this is totally an old man get off my lawn, but
Yeah.
I posit that best teams, especially if they were acclimated to more of the modern game, but from a talent standpoint, like if like the late 80s, early 90s into the early 2000s would smoke all these teams today because they were actually teams and more talented.
No, what it'll be banking on is the same thing that the college football banks on, which is the atmosphere of it and the feel. That's what they'll be banking for.
I don't think it has.
It's not that. I mean, college football is the second most popular sport in this country.
If March Madness didn't exist, how many people are watching regular college basketball games?
No, not.
And it's not like it was.
No,
back when you had
no.
UNLV
They
and the
blew
great
it.
Duke teams and the great Kentucky
The
teams. and
NBA
all
blew
that.
it. The NBA could have followed the NFL's absolute model and done a 3 years removed from high school.
Totally.
They could have done it, and if they had done it, then they would be drafting. Can you imagine if Cooper Flagg and
Had 2 more years.
had
at
2
Duke.
more years at Duke?
Thank
Yes.
And didn't that Kneppel kid go 4th?
you. Yeah.
They had 3 in the top
And
10.
then, yeah.
Yeah, so you'd have run
the
those
big
guys
man,
back.
That's a project.
Yeah, and you would
Whose
run those
name I
guys
Dude,
back
you
for
had
2
a
more
team
years.
that had Larry Johnson, Greg Anthony, Stacey Augman on it,
Anderson Hunt.
Anderson Hunt, and George Eccles. But
Yeah.
those big, and they played 2 years in a row together.
Oh,
You
yeah.
had in Duke when you had like Leitner and Thomas Hill and Grant
Leitner
Hill
played
and
4 years
Hurley.
starter,
Yes, Thomas what was it? Thomas Davis,
Thomas Hill.
Antonio
Thomas
Davis.
Hill, Antonio Davis.
Antonio Davis. Yeah, Antonio Davis. Yeah.
Yeah,
Brian Davis.
Brian Davis.
Brian Davis, Antonio
I almost said Langham. but
Antonio Lang.
it's Lang.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
I was going to say Langham. I'm like, that's
Can you,
NFL.
can you imagine what those guys would have made in NIL?
Yes, yes.
So, like, you could have done all of that.
Like even with that Cal with Bozeman, you had Lamont Murray and Jason Kidd for multiple years together. Like,
Yeah.
that's just there's none of it.
No.
It
won't be as big as
There
the
was
college game was a massive hit.
in that time, in those eras. I could have named probably the starting lineups for the top 20, and obviously multiple teams. I could have done like their top 8 guys, and now I don't think I could name 8 people in college basketball today.
No, probably not, because they don't stick around, and then they bounce even more so. So like
it's
they're
like- That's what I'm saying.
perpetually.
That game to me will be cool if you can go back and play.
It'll be cool if you can do like the creative player thing and be recruited and
Sure,
do all of
that's-
that.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
what the kids will want to do. And then if you can take that player and put it into NBA,
Yeah, which of course
whatever.
you can do. Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
no, it's EA, so that won't be able to go into 2K. It'll have to go into an EA.
Oh, you're
NBA
saying
game.
right.
Like if
Put
you
into
could take
the
that
NBA,
player
yeah, into the
through,
next game. Yeah, no, they won't be able
That's
to do
what
that.
you would. That's what you would want to do is to be.
Can
able
they
to
do that in Madden? Can you be like a college recruit and then take your player and import him
Yeah,
into Madden?
because you can import the rosters or the draft classes in,
Yeah.
so you can do that.
One more thing here before we get to break. Netflix just posted this at
Okay.
11 a.m.
Yeah, I saw this.
Experience the historic rise of one of the greatest teams in all of sports. America's team, the Gambler and his Cowboys, premieres August 19th.
All right, I'll just say this: this will be sports washing, because that's what documentaries are now. They're sports washing. But Jimmy Johnson participated.
He did.
He's in the trailer.
For the Cowboys.
Yes.
He's in it a
Prominently featured. So that tells me, now that might have been part of a condition on him finally getting into the Ring of Honor for Jerry too, but that tells me that there will at least be some transparency about what happened after 93. Because they win the 2 Super Bowls and then he fires him.
For Switzer, right?
Yeah. And that was, as a kid, that was a shocking a thing ever.
Yeah.
Like, that was an all-time shocking thing,
Yes.
what happened there. And it won 2 Super Bowls, and they fired him. Then they hired Switzer. Niners win it in 94. Switzer wins it in 95. And then he's gone shortly thereafter. But that, if you get the real truth on that, that is why is there regret? Because Jerry hasn't been close since.
No.
Not since.
Correct.
It's a long time. No, I can't. That one has a chance to be pretty great. That one definitely has a chance to be great. If a car, truck, or motorcycle accident caused you injury, call the injury lawyers at 1-800-ELK, Ohio for a free case review. Elk & Elk's proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily. It's presented by Valley Vet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Trucker motorcycle accident caused you injury? Call the injury lawyers at 1-800-ELK-OHIO for a free case review. Elk & Elk's proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. All right, we're 25 years in. Quarter-century team made up of players since 2000. We are including the 1999 team as well in this. So the idea here is we will pick the offense this week. Gibbe's first question is, how do you want this offense to look? Best 11, 1 running back, 2 running back, 3 wide receivers. What should the breakdown be?
Should be the best 53.
Well, 53 or start. I think we do starters. I think 53 would get kind of wonky.
Yeah, I want to go starters.
Yeah, I think we go starters. I think if you do 53, you're going to have.
You have 2 quarterbacks, 3
really
running
deep.
backs, 5 receivers.
So I think just starters. My vote would be just for starters.
I think it'll be. We could do both. I could add on what the 53.
You could add all the way to the 53.
Yeah, I don't think it'd be hard at all, honestly.
I think you would find some positions could be a little tougher.
Well, I think in the 2000s would be a real hole for me in terms of remembering who was good.
Good news. I've compiled the list, given it to
99
Brock to get us through this week.
But even the idea of having some sort of perspective on how good players were on bad teams in the 2000s would be really tough. When you think about a 53,
I really don't think it would be. I'm telling you right now, it wouldn't be.
All right,
that tough.
you give it a shot. You can give it a shot.
Yeah, I don't think it'd be tough at all.
All right, give it a shot. All right, so if we do 53, then you still have to name starters, though.
Yeah, of course. I've got that. I've got them depth charted out.
Oh, somebody's done their homework. Mr. Emery's done his homework on this. Very good. All right, let's go.
That's what happens when you got to feed a baby in the middle of the night when you're awake at 5 a.m. after the baby goes to sleep.
All right, so on your 53, what is your breakdown? So I know what parameters I'm dealing with.
Well, we'll have to see as we go through. But what we're gonna go
because we're doing just quarterbacks today, just picking our quarterbacks.
We're gonna go for 25-25 offense defense.
Okay,
we'll go for 25-25.
All right, here are the list of quarterbacks we will be choosing from to make the roster. The number 1 pick, the first ever pick of this franchise when it returned, Tim Couch is on this list. Kelly Holcomb is on this list. There's a bunch of guys on this list. You've all seen the jersey, but these are the highlights. Derek Anderson, Brady Quinn, Colt McCoy, Josh McCown, Baker Mayfield, and Joe Flacco. That is your list of quarterbacks. Among others, if there's other guys who pop out, I guess you could put them on there as well. But those are some of the principal ones that you're looking out for on that front. This is difficult because, did Derek Anderson have the best quarterback season, or was Baker's first year with Stefanski the best?
So Anderson's the only one of these guys that was a Pro Bowler at any point in this.
Bake made a Pro Bowl, didn't he? As an alternate? Didn't he?
He did.
I thought he did.
Let's see. It's not. He didn't have a star when I glanced quickly. No, he's made the Pro Bowl twice.
Both in
which
Tampa?
are the last 2 years in Tampa.
Oh.
Baker's best season with us was 63% completions, 26 touchdowns, 8 picks, 63 yards, 95.9 rating. Anderson, his best year was that 2007 year, where he threw for 3,800 yards, 29 touchdowns, 19 picks, and was a Pro Bowler. There hasn't been great quarterback play, let's be honest. But, if I was going to go with, 3 in the quarterback room, my 3 would be, I think Bake is your starter.
Bake had the best sustained quarterback play the franchise has had since it returned.
Anderson has had the best single season.
Maybe had the best single season, yeah.
And again, like I said, won the only Pro Bowl. But yeah, Bake's time here was 62% completions, 92 touchdowns, 56 picks, 88 rating. And granted, things are very different, from a rating standpoint, even from the early 2000s. In terms of what the average expected quarterback rating and completion percentage and all that stuff is. Yeah, man. Geez.
Anderson's thing is so strange because it's really just the 1 year.
Yep, that's all it is.
He's great. He basically had 1 year of what Flacco had for a month.
The number of players from that year in 2007 that just they were on pace for Hall of Fame numbers. And then were never heard from again. Oh my God!
Just the 2 biggest pass catchers and Anderson with Winslow and Edwards.
Yeah,
and there was no reason. And you were of the 3 of us, you were the closest to it, Gibbe, because you were here then, Z, but you weren't with the Browns at that point.
Right.
There was no reason to believe that couldn't run it back in 08. You started the next season against the Cowboys in the late window, the national game of the week.
Yeah.
That's how you started the next year.
Romeo Crennel, great coach.
Yeah.
Good guy. You had a great front office. Everybody was in lockstep. All of a sudden, you had this great mix of veterans and young guys.
Yeah, and they all blossomed.
Your first-round draft that year was Joe Thomas and Brady Quinn. And Brady Quinn doesn't see the field because Derek Anderson has the mother of all seasons. Now, Charlie Fry started that.
Right.
And had arguably the worst season opener of a game since they came back. Well, the first game in 99 when everybody was like, oh, excited, football's back. And Pittsburgh came in here, and I don't know if we crossed midfield to the third quarter, and you were like, all right, this is going to take – that game in 2007 to kick off the season was just as bad. You trade Fry, and then Anderson puts up 51 on the Bengals. They win like 51-48, and they take off.
Well, and the other thing about that is Fry was the starter. It was a feel-good story from the year before, but they drafted Quinn. Quinn fell out of came out of nowhere to be available. Brady became available. I was at his first game when he led a fourth-quarter comeback in a preseason game, and the place went nuts and got us a win. And I was working at the CBS affiliate at Columbus at that time, and he came on with me after. I mean, it was crazy. He's a Dublin kid. And you're thinking, my God, it's Brady Quinn's going to be the guy. So Quinn was there, and then Anderson wins the job, plays well, which leads to what happened in 08. Just one of the strangest one-year, 10-win seasons ever, honestly, when you think of all of the factors that led to that. Yes, Bake's the no-brainer. Anderson's on there. I think Bake's the starter.
Bake's starter. I have Anderson second, and just that tells you where we're at. I have Joe Flacco as the third quarterback.
I totally disagree. That's Couch.
I'm with you because
it's Couch.
To me,
Flacco had 5 games.
He had
So
5,
what?
and he's
Why is
also a Raven. I mean, he's a Super Bowl champion with the Ravens.
Yeah.
I don't think he can be on our 25-year team for 5 starts. As much as I like
His
him,
5 games were more impactful and more fun than any 5-game stretch in that period that doesn't belong to either Bake or Derek Anderson.
also the roster was exponentially better.
How could it be Tim Couch?
I'm with Gibby on that. I think it's
Tim Couch in his time with the Browns was 22 and 37. He threw more picks than touchdowns and completed 59% of his passes.
I don't think you can do that with a record.
No.
It's not fair.
It's the worst thing that the NFL ever did. It's the worst thing the NFL ever did to an expansion team, and they learned from it.
It's not fair to him, but that, unfortunately, he never had a quarterback rating in the 80s. If you were to drop him in a completely different situation with his talent, and it's so unfair to him that's where he ended up, just like it's unfair to David Carr that he ended up where he did in Houston at the time, the way they did that, instead of doing it like they did for Carolina and Jacksonville when it was like Mark Brunell and Berline, but they had like loaded teams.
Yeah.
It's not fair, but like that's why we're talking a third quarterback. To me,
I know. That's
Joe
why if you do the
Flacco's
starters, this is
pretty
easy.
good.
Then it's just Baker and you're good.
But I think
it just seems
fun.
weird. I think it's almost better it'd almost be better if you don't want to go Couch. It would almost be better if it's like McCown or something. Like Flacco is just a Raven. I mean, I love him. We love him. He was here. He was unbelievable for 5 games, but he won he was the franchise quarterback of the Ravens.
It couldn't be. It can't be.
If he doesn't get
can't
hurt,
be McCown.
If he broke his leg the year they went to the playoffs, and DA came in and took, Holcomb came in and took him to the playoffs. But like,
we might just only have 2 quarterbacks.
That might be the solution.
There might only be 2 quarterbacks on this roster.
Although we got to make sure we
because I think we could have 10 offensive linemen easy.
Isn't it something? We'll get to that a little later. But
all right, so we'll go 2 quarterbacks. That's fine. Nobody's honestly. Flacco is recency. He's the first guy ever to throw 300 yards in 5 straight games through 13 touchdowns games. Takes us to the playoffs. It was magical. If you think of over the time, that time is the 3 happiest times you had were Bacon 20, Flacco here, and probably DA in 2007.
Well, didn't Couch had a
Holcomb started the playoff game though against Pittsburgh.
Right, but Couch also had the Hail Mary win
In New Orleans?
Was that New Orleans? I mean, that's before my time, so
I think it
don't
was
know.
New Orleans, wasn't it?
You're the only one of us who has a point of reference on couches,
I like
the feeling around couch at that time.
Tim
Because
Couch.
Here was the
it'd
problem
be
with Tim Couch.
disingenuous for me to sit here and
Tim
make an
Couch
argument
just
statement
deserved to
about
be
it.
somewhere else. He didn't
Go
deserve
look at that.
what the
Go
situation.
look at the rosters
It's
from
a-
99
No.
to 2000.
What
Yeah.
I know that. What I'm curious about, though, is on the couch run, what was the feeling around the franchise and him at that
Dude,
point?
poor Tim Couch got cheered for getting hurt.
No, I know. I understand that.
Tim
but
Couch
like
is great.
in term, I agree. I think him and David Carr
Yeah.
are probably the two examples of just
How they got
bad
hosed.
spots. Like if
Hosed.
Couch goes to Philly
Oh
and
my
plays
God.
for Andy Reid, it's
He
a
could-
totally different situation.
He could have been a Hall of
Correct.
Famer.
Yeah.
For all we know.
Right, he very well could have been. But what were the moments around Couch like, Gibby? What do you remember about those?
He had all the talent in the world. Matt Fontana just texted me. He goes, he had a high school line in front of him.
Yeah, it was bad.
Like he never had a chance.
He got
Like,
sacked 56
he would have
times
moments,
his rookie year.
and
56 times.
he would have moments where he would make plays, and you're just like if you had star power, if you had a running back, if you had an offensive line.
Yes, it's not
like,
his fault.
You had Kevin Johnson, and that was.
Why-
By the
Why
way,
did-
until recently, Kevin Johnson had more catches
we went through that
than
when we were-
anybody since 2000.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
It's
Who was it? Pluto who wrote the book about why they did the Browns the way they did, in terms of why did they not give the Browns the same advantages that
Yes, I think
Jacksonville and
Mr.
Carolina
Pluto has
got?
written that,
Because like that, Jackson was the NFL just like we can't have these teams be this good this quick,
Correct.
so make
That's
it harder.
100% what it was. It was Jacksonville and Carolina
Yeah, we're
went to the AFC and NFC championships.
Like right away.
yeah, within the
And they
first
were
few
like,
years.
2 years.
Nope. Like
that's
the,
what makes
the
it-
expansion draft was. You had your pick from the bottom 10 of every team in the NFL.
And what sucks about that is like what the NHL has done with their expansion with Vegas and Seattle is, I mean, Vegas already won a cup because they didn't allow you to protect enough players. You got like ready-made guys, and they there should have been. Is it right for an expansion team to play for a Super Bowl
No.
within the first or get to a championship game in the first 2 years? No, but it also shouldn't be 5 years of digging out.
So the Browns'
be fair, if we
leading
draft-
receiver was Kevin Johnson. The second leading receiver was Terry Kirby. Third was Darren Shiverini. The leading rusher was Terry Kirby. The second leading rusher was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Wow.
I mean, that's what we're throwing out
Yeah,
there.
that's
He-
like
it's
a
just
UFL
unfair to
roster.
evaluate him.
everybody.
He shouldn't be on this
Everybody had a
team.
couch jersey.
Well, yeah.
I mean, everybody. Anything
he was the
that
first
guy.
pick.
If he has any success at all, I can say this with confidence. If he has any sustained success, he's right up there with Bernie.
Oh, no doubt. Oh, no
Because
doubt.
the
The
rising
roster
from
was
the
just
ashes,
such a mess.
But yeah.
It's amazing. He never – I mean, he didn't play again after 26 years of age.
Yeah, just so beaten up. Well, that Carr was like that. Carr didn't last much longer than that either.
Correct.
Just absolutely beaten. All right, so let's go to
So we'll go
Bacon
two
Derek
quarterbacks,
Anderson.
Bacon, Derek Anderson. Okay.
We love you, Joe, but Bacon Derek Anderson. That's
I love Joe. I love Josh.
a lot of good dudes here.
Yeah.
All right, so there you go. We're gonna do running backs tomorrow, Gibbe.
Sure, we can just do a short segment here coming back.
By the way, there's a name that's not on the running back list that I'm going to make a lobby for to be on the football team. That's just a spoiler.
Well, you just picked up a spot then for him.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, I
All
have
right.
4 in there anyway.
You
Hey,
listen
you
to-
want to play Palazzolo next?
Yeah, we can do that. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily is presented by Bally Bet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns on 850 ESPN Cleveland. All right, welcome back in Cleveland Browns Daily, presented by Ballybet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. From the Check the Mic podcast, hosted by Sam Monson and Steve Palazzolo, here is the two fellas discussing the Browns offseason.
Starting point.
Yes, down.
Demanded a trade. Instead of trading one of the best players in the NFL, they've extended him and got him locked into a new contract, albeit, one of the most expensive contracts in the NFL. But they've gone from their best player wanted at the door to he's happy again. That's good, right? You can debate how they got there, but they ended up with the quarterback I would have taken at number 2. Like, I would have taken Shedeur Sanders just because I think they need a way out of that. They got him in the 5th round. So they got the same guy, and they're paying him like a fraction of the money they would be paying him if they got him at number 2. And they got an extra roll of the dice, like a bonus lottery ticket with Dylan Gabriel in the 3rd round as well. So, and you can argue that if they didn't think that those two guys really had a chance of being that answer, that their process is way better than mine, right? Why? We don't think he's worth this spot, so we're going to trust that that the draft is correct, and we'll let him slide till day 3, and then we'll make a couple of moves and trade down and pick up the extra 1st-round pick next year. And as much as, Travis Hunter is special, he's unique, he's somebody that hasn't come along for decades, I still think the smart move is to pick up the 1st-round pick for next year. If for no other reason than you need the quarterback, not the guy that plays corner or wide receiver.
I mean, this is why I think the Jags-Browns trade was a win-win. In the Jags situation, can one, say, star player make an impact on the team in Jacksonville? I think absolutely, because you have a quarterback, you have a star receiver, you've got some talent on the defensive side. You add one Travis Hunter to the mix there, that moves the needle. In Cleveland, where the entire offensive line is unsigned for next year, you have questions at receiver, your secondary is unsigned for next year, you have one or two dependable defensive linemen. Is Travis Hunter moving the needle there? Or is it Travis Hunter plus Travis Hunter versus Mason Graham plus the 2 extra picks plus next year's first? It was just a better move for the Browns. And to your point, like if we said before the draft, look, they're going to forget however you want to care about our quarterback rankings, but they got our number 2 and 4 quarterbacks respectively, and Mason Graham in next year's 1st-round pick, and an extra 2. That's a huge win for me in the draft for the Browns.
Yeah, the other point that I would make that I don't think comes up enough is there is a pretty sizable chance that Mason Graham is a better player than Travis Hunter. Like, I know Travis Hunter is seen of as special and unique, and what if he's able to play wide receiver and like Mason Graham is one of the top 5 players in this draft. If it wasn't for some weird measurements like shorter than ideal arms and he weighed in 20 pounds lower than he was supposed to, like his tape says he's the top 5 player in this draft. They may have gotten the better player in addition to the 1st-round draft pick as well. Like, there's a sizable chance that is the case. Maybe not the most likely case, but a sizable chance that they got the better player in addition to a 1st-round draft pick next year. I think this is pure hate for the Browns for no particularly good reason. I think they've done a good job overall, given some challenging circumstances.
We agree. So much more to come. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily, presented by Ballybet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Kids, that's a busy Monday. Busy Monday. A couple of big trades in the league.
Yeah, it's great to have you back.
Great to be back.
By the way, Gibbe,
Yes.
I'm going to give you 3 guesses. I added 1 running back to this list. I'm going to give you 3 guesses if you can name that running back. And I'm going to make the case for him to be on this team.
I don't have the back in front of me. I don't have the list in front of me.
Your list is Nick Chubb,
Yep.
Jamal Lewis,
Yep.
Caw, Isaiah Crowell, Peyton Hillis, Kareem Hunt, Dearness Johnson, Run William Run, Reuben Drones, Duke Johnson, Trent Richardson, and Jerome Ford.
I don't know who I'm missing.
The person you're missing
Terry Kirby? Lee Suggs?
had at one point 3 straight 100-yard games, including 230-plus in a game.
Oh, Harrison.
Jerome
Harrison against
The Chiefs.
Yeah.
Jerome
He
Harrison.
ran for 230.
Dude, Jerome Harrison, the final 3 games of that year, led the NFL in rushing by like 150
30.
yards.
30.
That wild.
Yeah.
We'll do running backs tomorrow.
I'm going to try to get him on this team.
There you go. Next level's coming up next. Thanks for listening, everybody. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland.